So this question is very hard to answer because biting Bo, great start to my video. Hello everyone and welcome back to Flock Life. For those of you who are new here, I'm Emily, this is Bogey, and we post once a week on all things bird related. We are gonna be talking about biting. It is our most asked question. My bird's biting, help. What do I do if my bird bites? Why is my bird biting? All of these questions are amazing. They're just really hard to answer. Bogey really wants my earrings because they literally look like little toys dangling from my ears. Nope. There you go. There's a bite. Does anyone know why Bogey bit me? That's right, Bogey bit me because I wouldn't let him have his way. So let's get started. Let's jump right into it. Once you can identify why your bird is biting you, that is when you can actually solve the problem. Because you can't solve a problem if you don't know why it's happening. Something I love to tell people is that birds are not like dogs, they are not domesticated. So dogs have been domesticated for thousands and thousands of years. I think it's something like 15 or 20,000 years. And they've really evolved with mankind. Birds, however, come here. Ow, ow. Okay, speaking of biting, birds, however, are very much wild animals. And I can attest to this. I'm sure most of you who are watching this have birds and you can attest to this too. They are not domesticated, hence the wild behavior and the biting. So birds do bite. I think it's a little unreasonable to expect your bird never ever to bite. He's feisty right now too. Why don't I get you a toy? How about I get you a toy? So number one is you're not picking up what your bird's putting down. It's super important to understand at least the gist of how birds communicate so that you can prevent those bites from happening. Birds have a myriad of different ways that they use their feathers, wings, and body positioning to tell you what's up. Whether it's that they like something, don't like something, they're afraid, they're happy, they will tell you. My example of this is that I would wake up in the morning and I'd take Bogey out and I'd always want to give him a kiss on his beak because how do you resist kissing that adorable pink puffy bird? So what would happen is I would lean in for the kiss and he would move away and I would ignore that, and then I would get a big old bite on my lip or cheek or under my eye, and I'd be really upset and sad because I just wanted this love from this bird. However, he was showing me the whole time, hey, I don't want that. I always like to put myself in other people's shoes, or in this case, birds' claws, and picture you're telling someone stop multiple times and they're not listening to you. You would lash out. Whether your bird's leaning away, putting his head down, puffing up the back of his head, running away from you, he or she is doing those things and you keep persisting, then you're not reading the signs and you will get bit. Simple as that. And just be aware because you may be doing something you think your bird would like. Oh, I'm kissing him. Of course he wants all of my love and affection. But in reality, your bird's really trying to tell you, hey, I don't like this, please stop. So I would just say take a mental or actual note of what's going on when you get bit. Try to think of what happened before and how you reacted, and we'll get into that in a second. That leads me to my next point. Your bird could be biting you because you have trained him or her to do so. So my example of this, because it's a little bit confusing, is that when Bogey was a baby, whenever we'd be on the couch, Bogey would jump on my head, jump on my shoulders. He likes to roll off of things, roll off of the pillows and lay on his back, and then I pick him up and swing him around. He loves it. It's super fun, it's playful. But what has happened over the 2 years that I've had him is that he has learned that if he runs up and bites my ear, flick him off, and then he'll roll off and then think we're playing. I have trained Bogey to now bite my ear because he thinks it's play. So what I was mentioning before with taking a mental or physical note is it's important to think of what you did before you got bit, but also after, because I was actually positively reinforcing this behavior, and now I've been working really hard to reverse all of this play bite time because I don't like when he jumps up and bites my ears. It's just not fun, and he thinks it's a hoot, and I don't. The third reason why your bird is biting you is because of fear or lack of trust. Now, I see this all the time with new birds. People get baby birds, they get them from the pet store, and maybe they weren't hand-fed, maybe they weren't from the best breeder, and they're scared. They're in a whole new environment. There's a new human, they're in a new cage, everything is new. Maybe they're alone, they're not with other birds, and the human just wants to hold the bird and be around the bird and be best friends with the bird. I totally understand. I've been there, but guess what? It's not the best thing to do when you have a bird that's afraid of you. Your bird could be biting just solely out of fear. And it's very important to note never to force your bird to do anything, especially if it's a new baby bird or it doesn't trust you. If your bird's afraid of you, there's many ways where you can teach your bird to warm up to you in a very healthy, positive way so that you don't create all these issues and more problems for you to have to figure out later. Fourth reason why your bird is being aggressive is because of food aggression. So if you're taking your bird's food in and out of its cage, your bird is processing that as human stealing my food, must bite human. Each morning I give Bogey chop and he's super excited about the chop. He loves it. It gets to the point now where if he's in the kitchen when I'm preparing the chop, he gets a little bit too excited and then he bites me. That's something to be aware of. I also had a friend who was mentioning that her bird was biting her in the kitchen a lot, and she's like, yeah, I just don't know why she's biting me so much here. And I was experiencing the same thing with Bogey. And again, it's just being aware of what's going on, where are you, what's the context, what's happened before and after the bite. And my friend realized, oh, she bites me in the kitchen a ton. And I was just saying, well, do you think it's because she knows there's food in there and she's probably wanting to get the food to the point where she bites you? It was a really cool moment of realization for my friend who kind of understood, oh, that's why my bird's biting me strangely only in the kitchen. The fifth reason that your bird is being aggressive and biting you is because of hormones. Now, everyone talks about hormones. Hormones are the worst when it comes to birds, male birds specifically, Amazons and cockatoos, and I've heard that macaws get pretty nasty. Hormones basically flare up during spring and even summer, and this is your bird's little internal mating clock. When there's more light outside, it signals to them that it's mating time. That's why everyone says to make sure your bird gets 12 to 14 hours of sleep a night, because it kind of shuts that off a little bit. This could be a huge reason why your bird's biting, whether your bird's trying to create a nest, so maybe they're going into a darker place in its cage, or if there's a cage cover, that can be an issue. Pillows, blankets, they get very territorial over those spaces. That will lead to a bite. And since Bogey's flighted, he will fly at you to protect his nest. So preventing those nests from being formed is very, very important. Hormones also just cause your bird to be less patient in my experience. They're just overall more nasty. The sixth reason why your bird is biting you is because of triggers. So your bird can associate certain objects with a negative behavior. I've heard stories of cockatoos just hating the color orange all of a sudden, or even with people, they just strongly dislike a person. Or in my case, my phone is a huge trigger. If my phone's out and I'm on my phone, I know that I'm gonna get bit. So I've pretty much stopped doing that. If I am out with Bogey, I'm not just on my phone, because he'll either try to attack the phone and then I'll tell him to stop and then he'll bite me, or he'll just get so worked up, he just will go for my face. Same goes with my computer. Again, going back to writing down when your bird bites, seeing what objects are around, what people are around. Bogey definitely has some favorite friends of mine, and he has some enemies. They're mortal enemies, and they don't know what they did wrong, but they did something wrong because Bogey does not like them, and they actually act as a trigger. It's really funny. That also goes to kind of the kitchen scenario I told you about. Even certain rooms can be triggers for either good behavior or bad behavior. When Bogey's in my bathroom, he is so calm and serene, and I swear it's because we don't roughhouse in there. It's a shower, or I'm brushing my teeth, getting ready for bed, or getting ready for the day. It's calm energy, and whenever we go in the bathroom, he always wants a head rub. Whereas when we sit on the couch, Bogey thinks it's play, and he comes up and bites my ears and does all of his crazy stuff. On my bed, I used to make forts for Bogey before I knew that that was a no-no. So now he's pretty aggressive when I'm on my bed because I expect a bite. Kitchen, he expects food, so I mean, it depends. If he's really hungry, then it's not the best idea to take Bogey into the kitchen. It's a complicated slew of different scenarios and weighing what's going on. It's very contextual. So the 7th reason why your bird's biting you is because maybe you have a cockatoo and they're just bad crazy. I had a consultation with Bird Tricks and I was talking to Dave after we talked about diet and sleep and all the things I kind of covered. He just goes, "Look, Emily, you have a cockatoo." And he kind of just sat there and stared at me. You have a cockatoo. You know, like, things are gonna get hard. Things are gonna be complicated. They're moody. They hold grudges. They're complicated. You could be doing something and really have the best of intentions and have no idea what you did wrong, and something pissed them off, and they will hold on to that and bite you an hour later. So if you have a cockatoo, hang in there because I'm right there with you. Once you have identified why your bird is biting you, maybe you're not listening to what he's trying to tell you. Maybe he or she is a brand new bird and she's super afraid to come out of the cage. Maybe you've been building your bird a fort. Maybe your bird is very food aggressive. Whatever the reason is, once you identify that, that is when you can start making the correct changes. And just right off the bat, the best things you can do for any type of bird aggression or just bird care in general is to get your bird on the right diet. This is going to help significantly. It's not going to solve all of your problems, but it will solve a good 50% of your problems. Take notes of when your bird bites. I guarantee that you will start finding a pattern of what's going on. Once you see that pattern, you get to figure out and change whatever method you're using, and that's very exciting. I hope this video will help some of you guys. I've had my fair share of bites. You're not alone in this parrot journey. And if you guys have any other comments, questions, or tips for me, please put them below. I would love to see them, and I would love to learn more right alongside you guys. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day.